provided by Thomas Allgeier and Frennis, based on the most relevant LinkedIn posts about social selling in calendar weeks 29 and 30. Frennis supports clients with identifying target attendees for events, crafting outreach that cuts through the noise, and driving qualified registrations through strategic LinkedIn engagement. You can find more info in the description.
Right, so we're really jumping right into the deep end today.
Yeah, exactly. And, over the last 2 years, you've probably noticed your posts are getting like a fraction of the views they used to.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone's feeling it.
Right. And if you are a strategic B2B marketing professional managing a social selling strategy, you are not imagining it. I mean, data from Jay Klaus, analyzing over 1 million posts, it actually reveals that active creator reach has dropped by roughly 60%.
60%. I mean, that is just massive.
It's huge. But the algorithm isn't broken. It has just evolved into something entirely different. So today, we are breaking down the underlying mechanics of that shift.
Yeah, we are going to deconstruct the absolute top social selling trends across the platform right now.
Uh-huh.
And just to set expectations for you, we are skipping the basic fluff.
No fluff today.
Exactly. We're diving straight into the operational realities of, how this platform evaluates content, how you activate your internal teams, and really how you actually track this activity down to closed-won revenue.
Because that 60% drop in reach, it fundamentally changes the math for B2B pipeline generation.
It really does.
We used to rely on a certain volume of top-of-funnel awareness to just make the numbers work. And if that volume is cut by more than half, well, we have to understand the machine that controls the board. I mean, the platform clearly isn't just counting hashtags or chronological timestamps anymore.
Oh, far from it. The foundational architecture has been completely overhauled.
Right.
The old rules-based algorithm, it's been replaced by a 150 billion parameter AI model.
Wow, 150 billion.
Yeah, and Greg Dristis and Chris Timoleon highlighted that this new system is often referred to internally as 360 Brew.
360 Brew. Sounds like a coffee blend.
Right. But it actually sits in the same architectural family as large language models like ChatGPT. It doesn't look at a post as a checklist of keywords. It evaluates semantic context.
So it's actually reading it.
Exactly. It essentially reads your profile, your entire posting history, and your comment behavior, and it weaves together this cohesive biography of your professional expertise.
Which changes the entire paradigm. I mean, we've been taught for a decade to cast the widest net possible.
Oh, yeah. Spray and pray.
Right. But if the platform is writing a biography about my specific expertise, it means it's actively filtering out anything that doesn't fit that narrative.
Yeah, and it is actively penalizing tactics that used to be considered standard growth hacks.
Yeah.
Justin Hardy and Tim Keane pulled some fascinating data illustrating this.
What'd they find?
Well, if you rely on the share button to distribute company news, you are instantly hit with a 40 to 60% reduction in visibility.
Just for hitting share.
Just for hitting share. And if you drop external links directly into the body of your post, you're losing 50 to 70% of your reach.
Man. Which means the platform is punishing anything that tries to pull the user away or, anything that feels lazily distributed.
Exactly. Keep them on the platform.
And I assume that extends to how we write the hooks, too. Like if you start a post with templated AI language phrases like stop X, start Y, or here's what nobody tells you about B2B sales, the system flags that structural predictability, right?
Yes. It sees it as generic and suppresses it. The AI is incredibly adept at recognizing other AI-generated patterns. But there's a flip side to this.
Okay, good. Give us the good news.
The algorithm heavily rewards deep topic consistency. Cindy Dodd noted that niche and even so-called boring industries like highly specialized aerospace engineering or defense logistics, they're seeing up to 78% higher distribution.
78%. Just for being niche.
Yeah, because there is less noise and fewer people claiming that specific expertise, so the system confidently distributes their content to a highly targeted audience.
That makes a lot of sense. And the metrics the system uses to measure success, those have shifted away from vanity engagement.
Right, lately.
Yeah, Heather Adkins pointed out that saves and dwell time are the new super metrics. So a superficial comment like great insights barely registers anymore.
Not at all.
The machine wants to see that a user stopped their scroll, spent 2 minutes reading a complex breakdown, and physically bookmarked it for later reference.
Right. And when you combine that deep topic consistency with high dwell time, the distribution model just flips in your favor. Christy K. Jones and Tony Riestel observed this massive spike in out-of-network reach.
Out of network, meaning people who don't follow you.
Exactly. In some cases, up to 95% of a post's visibility is going to non-followers.
Wow.
The platform is essentially matchmaking. It takes your verified expertise and pushes it directly into the feeds of strangers who have demonstrated a behavioral need for that exact subject matter.
So it's like LinkedIn stopped being a slot machine where you just pull a hashtag lever hoping for a jackpot of random views.
Right.
And instead, it became this highly observant librarian. Like, this librarian reads the last 50 chapters of your professional autobiography, analyzes your actual depth of knowledge, and then walks across the library to hand your book to a stranger who just asked a hyper-specific question.
I love that. That is a brilliant way to conceptualize it. The librarian knows exactly what the stranger needs to solve their business problem, and it knows exactly whether your historical footprint qualifies you to answer it.
Yeah.
Which brings up a critical operational bottleneck for marketing teams. I mean, how do you consistently produce content for that AI librarian without falling into the trap of mass producing what the industry is calling AI slop?
Oh, the AI slop. Because if the machine is judging your unique value, you cannot just outsource your original thinking to a basic prompt.
No, you really can't.
The data from Leah Bliss paints a very stark picture of this. Fully AI-written posts are experiencing a 30 to 40% drop in reach, accompanied by a massive reduction in actual human engagement.
People can smell it a mile away.
They really can. But here is the nuance. AI-assisted posts, where the technology is used for ideation or outlining, but a human voice drives the actual writing, they are actually seeing a 32% boost in engagement.
And that nuance right there reveals how the platform actually operates. Tim S. Dodd clarified this dynamic perfectly.
What did he say?
Well, the platform is not strictly penalizing the use of AI tools. I mean, they are actively integrating AI into their own user interface.
Right, they have their own AI tools now.
Exactly. What they're penalizing is the homogenized generic output that AI typically produces when it's left unguided, and they are making that judgment based strictly on reader reaction.
Ah, so it's behavior-driven.
Yes. If the audience recognizes the robotic cadence and just scrolls past it, the algorithm kills the reach.
And in a B2B context, Katie Reithal makes the argument that trust requires a visible, identifiable human.
Absolutely.
You might be able to use faceless AI content to sell like a $10 consumer gadget at scale, but no enterprise software buyer is signing a six-figure contract based on a listicle generated by an avatar.
The stakes are simply too high. B2B purchases carry real career risk for the buyer. But there is an even deeper systemic issue here for marketing professionals. Anna Lerner-Nesbitt warned about this psychological shift she calls cognitive surrender.
Oh, I want to spend a minute on this because it feels incredibly relevant to how marketing teams are operating right now.
It really is.
Cognitive surrender, it basically happens when we stop using our slow, careful reasoning and just hand the analytical heavy lifting over to an AI.
Yeah, and it degrades our capacity for genuine thought leadership. When marketers rely on an LLM to summarize a complex industry white paper instead of reading it and wrestling with the data themselves, they lose the ability to form an original contrasting opinion.
They just get the average.
Exactly. They confidently accept the AI's flattened average consensus. They end up wearing the blazer of an expert, but there is absolutely no substantive, battle-tested experience underneath it.
They completely lose their edge. So for the practitioners staring at a blank screen trying to avoid cognitive surrender, the tactical advice from Zoe Hartsfield is to just stop overcomplicating the strategy.
Keep it simple.
You do not need 12 intricately mapped content pillars. You need to pick one operational topic, cold, and write about it with the plain, unpolished language you would use when talking to a colleague over coffee.
Right. And pay meticulous attention to the entry point. Ryan Yockey observed that it is rarely the algorithm that arbitrarily buries a post. It is almost always a weak opening line.
The hook is everything.
The first two sentences carry the entire weight of the content. You have to hook the reader immediately by challenging an industry assumption or, highlighting a specific painful operational reality.
And from a capacity standpoint, Tiffany Spelnally ran the numbers and found that a cadence of 3 high-quality, deeply considered posts a week easily outperforms daily, forgettable fluff.
Less is more.
The sheer volume approach is totally dead. But, let me push back on this entire premise for a second.
Yeah, go for it.
Are we just penalizing efficiency here? Like, if an AI writes a structurally perfect, highly informative post about supply chain logistics, why does the B2B buyer actually care if a human wrote it?
Well, Because a structurally perfect post demonstrates formatting skill, not implementation experience. B2B buyers are looking for signals that you understand the messy, complicated reality of their specific business environment. I mean, an AI can list the 5 steps to optimize the supply chain.
Sure.
But only a human practitioner can tell a story about how step 3 completely falls apart when the procurement team uses legacy software, and then how to navigate that internal political friction.
That's a great point.
AI doesn't have battle scars. Humans do. And buyers trust battle scars.
The messy middle is where the trust is actually built.
Exactly.
By the way, if you are finding this breakdown of the mechanics helpful, make sure to hit subscribe on whatever app you are using to listen. We do these deep dives every 2 weeks, pulling out the actionable signals from the noise so you can adjust your strategies in real time.
Highly recommend subscribing.
Which brings us to a massive structural challenge for B2B brands. If authentic human voice and actual battle scars are the only currency that buys reach and trust, well, a faceless corporate logo is fundamentally disadvantaged. A brand page cannot have battle scars.
No, it can't. It is a profound bottleneck. Distribution has to be routed through individual people.
People buy from people.
Always. Dan Rosenthal broke down the arithmetic on this. The average modern B2B buying decision involves roughly 13 internal stakeholders.
13? That's a huge committee.
It is. And a single corporate marketing account cannot possibly speak to the highly specific concerns of the CFO, the Chief Information Security Officer, and the end user all at once.
Right.
But a decentralized team of employees, utilizing their combined networks and distinct professional lenses, they can absolutely cover that entire buying committee.
And the results of shifting that distribution model are pretty staggering. AJ Eckstein detailed a scenario where a company stopped muting their internal experts.
What'd they do?
Instead of forcing employees to copy-paste those sanitized corporate press releases, they permitted them to post freely about the honest, unpolished chaos of their daily jobs.
I love that.
6 team members publishing just 11 posts generated 472,000 impressions and drove over 1,000 job applications.
Just from being honest.
Yeah.
That proves that the most effective corporate influencers are rarely the polished marketing executives. PJ Catalano emphasized that the real influence lies with your engineers, your customer support staff, and your product managers.
The ones doing the actual work.
These are the people operating in the trenches. When an engineer explains exactly how a piece of technology circumvents a common infrastructure failure, the technical buyer on the other end trusts them implicitly.
And Philip Werner and Keisha Fowler backed this up through their own pilot programs. They found that the content that drove the highest engagement wasn't coming from the employees with massive existing followings or like media training.
Really?
Yeah, it was raw, authentic reflections from practitioners simply sharing their daily operational hurdles. But, I mean, let's be honest about the internal friction here. Getting a team of engineers or executives to consistently write content is incredibly difficult. Usually, marketing just drops a plea into a company-wide Slack channel, and it is met with total silence.
Crickets. Because nobody wants to risk their personal professional brand by acting as a mouthpiece for a corporate marketing message they didn't even write.
Right.
The incentive structure is entirely broken.
So Ike Singh Kahal proposed a radically different incentive structure. Just stop asking for favors and start paying them.
Money talks.
It does. When they transition from an unpaid, corporate scripted advocacy program to actually compensating employees and practitioners $300 to $500 per post and allowing them total control over their own voice, and Angle the program outperformed the legacy model by a factor of 4.
That's incredible. And it makes sense. You are essentially taking a budget that would have been burned on low-converting sponsored ads and reallocating it directly into the pockets of the most credible sources available.
Yeah.
Alex Lieberman expanded on this dynamic, noting that internal executives are proving to be the most cost-effective B2B creators on the market.
Over influencers.
Oh, yeah. By consistently sharing their strategic-level expertise, they are driving pipeline, generating PR, and in some cases, facilitating massive funding rounds.
I look at this like we are moving away from a single, centralized corporate megaphone standing on a stage, and we are replacing it with a decentralized mesh network of 50 highly specialized walkie-talkies.
That's a great image.
Each walkie-talkie is tuned to a very specific frequency, speaking directly to a specific stakeholder in the market.
A mesh network that surrounds the entire buying committee. But having that network operational and capturing top-of-funnel attention is only the first phase.
Right. Attention doesn't equal revenue.
Exactly. The critical failure point for most marketing teams is how they transition that attention into closed-won revenue.
Because organic impressions do not meet payroll. So what does the actual conversion architecture look like in this new algorithm?
Well, let's ground this in a reality check from Devin Reed. 40% of B2B deals currently die in no decision.
40%. Yeah.
The buyer doesn't go to a competitor. The initiative just stalls out entirely. And this happens because the buying committee lacks the collective confidence to sign off on a risky change.
That makes sense.
So the primary function of this decentralized content network is to build that confidence in public, months before a sales representative ever schedules a discovery call.
But the sales team cannot just sit back, stare at the CRM, and wait for inbound content leads to magically request a demo.
No, they have to work it.
Daniel Disney and Adia Toll stressed that the highest conversion rates occur when you aggressively combine this organic social strategy with targeted cold calling.
It's a 1-2 punch.
Yeah. The content warms the prospect and establishes credibility, and the phone call forces the timeline and closes the deal. They are interdependent.
The friction arises in how marketing departments attempt to measure that warm-up period. Mail-on Kong detailed the systemic failure of relying on last-click attribution software.
Oh, last click is the worst.
It is blind to the actual B2B buyer journey. I mean, it cannot track a chief operating officer who reads your engineer's post on their phone during a commute, screenshots it, shares it in a private executive Slack channel, and then directly Googles your company name 3 weeks later to request a demo.
In that scenario, the CRM assigns 100% of the pipeline credit to organic search.
Exactly.
And the chief financial officer looks at the marketing dashboard and concludes that the social selling program is a complete waste of budget.
Precisely. To solve this, marketing operations must implement self-reported attribution.
Like asking them directly.
Yeah, adding a mandatory "How did you hear about us?" free text field on the intake forms. Furthermore, they need to track influence pipeline, logging every single digital interaction across the entire 6-month deal cycle, rather than just crowning the final click.
Because the behavioral reality of these buyers, as Adam Noor highlighted, is that the vast majority are lurkers.
Yes, silent lurkers.
Up to 90% of the leads you eventually close will never publish their own content, and they will never publicly comment on yours.
Never.
They are a silent majority watching your mesh network of walkie-talkies until the exact quarter they have budget to deploy.
Which means the actual selling relies entirely on monitoring intent signals behind the scenes.
Right.
Nancy D'Onofrio, Aidan Collins, and Eduardo Schuch detailed operational frameworks for this. Your sales development reps need to monitor who is repeatedly viewing the profiles of your executive team.
Okay.
Who is engaging with a competitor's technical teardown. Who within your target account list just changed roles or secured a new round of funding.
You're looking for the digital footprint.
Exactly. You score those digital footprints against your ideal customer profile, and then you shift the conversation into the direct messages.
But wait, let me challenge the practicality of this.
Okay, what's the concern?
If our most valuable buyers are intentionally lurking in the shadows and deliberately avoiding public engagement, how does a sales rep transition that into a direct message without coming across as, like, a digital stalker?
It's a very fair question, and it's a critical distinction to make. Monitoring intent signals is not stalking. It is active listening.
Active listening.
Yeah. If a potential buyer walks into a physical showroom and spends 15 minutes analyzing a specific piece of machinery, a competent sales professional approaches them to answer questions.
Sure, that's just good service.
Digital intent requires the exact same contextual awareness.
You just have to be careful not to reveal the surveillance mechanism. Like, you don't send a message saying, hey, I saw you looking at my CEO's profile.
Exactly. Do not do that. You reach out with contextual relevance. You message them saying, I notice your team is expanding its footprint in this specific sector. Based on the operational challenges we typically see at this stage, here is a technical resource you might find useful.
So it's value-led.
It is about providing utility at the precise moment of need.
But there are massive operational pitfalls here if you get the execution wrong. Connor Paulson and Mandy McEwen audited several failed social selling strategies and provided a clear list of what to avoid.
What's on the do not do list?
First, do not fully automate your outreach sequences. The AI algorithm can detect the lack of human variance, and it will aggressively filter your messages right into the hidden other inbox.
Oh yeah, you'll never be seen.
Second, do not pitch slap a prospect in the very first message. You have to lead with their operational problem, not your product solution.
Nobody wants a pitch on the first interaction.
And finally, stop leaving generic congratulations on job update notifications just to check a box in your CRM.
It is so transparent.
Yeah.
Because it completely blends into the noise. You look exactly like the 50 other automated bots sending the same congratulatory note.
Exactly.
The strategic play is to wait 3 weeks, research the new mandate they were hired to execute, and check in with a highly specific insight related to their new role. It requires intense patience.
It is a forever game, not a frantic end-of-quarter sprint.
It really is. And, before we wrap up, there is one final forward-looking strategic shift that we really need to address.
What's that?
Chris Long and Terry Heath brought up a massive emerging factor. AI search engines like ChatGPT and Claude are actively summarizing the web to answer user queries.
Yeah.
When they formulate those answers, they are scanning digital footprints for verified evidence of expertise.
So they're reading LinkedIn, too.
Yes. The consistency of your headline, your newsletters, and your deeply technical posts, they're building a permanent digital knowledge graph.
Wow.
When a buyer asks an AI engine for the best vendor in your specific niche, that engine will cite the most consistent, authoritative footprints it can find.
So it's not just about the feed anymore.
No. The ultimate question you need to be asking yourself right now isn't just how you reach a human buyer on a chronological feed today. It is, are you systematically writing to train the AI engines of tomorrow?
That is something to think about. If you enjoyed this episode, new episodes drop every 2 weeks. Also check out our other editions on field marketing, MarTech, AI, and B2B, go-to-market, ABM, and channel marketing and partner ecosystem. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the underlying mechanics of social selling. Make sure you hit subscribe, and we will see you next time.